Alrighty, final video for today. Getting on here with the Vulcan, we have SCP-1879 Indoor Salesman Keter Extradimensional SCP. I wonder if there will be a cognito hazard too, or does it already say it inside? I can't remember. Yeah. So with the Indoor Salesman, an Indoor Salesman is what exactly? Are those like those door-to-door salesmen that go like is that what an indoor? I really don't know what an indoor salesman is. You know, you kind of know what a salesman is. Technically, like I guess like certain people like influencers are technically salesmen. So they're trying to sell you on something eventually, right? Some of them. I don't know where my mind is going. Anyways, if I didn't already say welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, sending out a lot of love. Here is the Indoor Salesman. So yeah, for some reason the thing that's popping in my mind is like those salesmen that go like, I don't know, like the door-to-door type salesman, and it kind of like the Fallout. Oh, there goes my voice. I thought 2 days was enough for just one video. Guess not. Well, whatever. I lose my voice, and suffer through the videos. Nah, but what was I gonna say? It reminds me of the Fallout 4 mission. If you haven't played the beginning of Fallout 4 or even seen gameplays, the initial character creation thing, well, let me not spoil it, but a portion of the character creation happens with like a indoor salesman. But if you know what I'm referring to, that's what I'm kind of picturing this SCP to be like. From the thumbnail, it was creepy, but let's get into it. The Vulcan, shout out to the Vulcan if you want me to take down videos that I have of you or any. I do not mind, my friend.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-1879.
I actually feel so uneasy looking at this. Like, imagine like looking at this the entire time. Like me staying up here in this corner so you're forced to look over at me and my reaction and his face also. I'm just joking, but dude, it seems like he's Dr. Miller.
Object Class, Keter. Special Containment Procedures. Due to the nature of the anomaly, SCP-1879 cannot be contained by the Foundation at this time. Foundation agents are to...
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look towards you guys because I don't want to read it. I'll be forced to like try to look ahead and read. So I'm gonna like look this way. Kind of, but like I'm being pulled to read it, kind of like I'm watching anime, try to watch and listen, and there's nothing happening.
Monitor police
I gotta look at this face will be ingrained in my mind.
Reports within the state of Washington for signs of possible SCP-1879 infection. When an instance of SCP-1879-1 is found, Mobile Task Force Row 4, also known as Shoes Salesmen, are to be dispatched to the location to deal with SCP-1879-1 at the minimum possible cost.
That's what I have to do. When instances of SCP-1879-1 is found, wow, I said that weird because of other SCPs. 1879. So when 1879 are found, -1 are found, aka Shoes Salesmen are to be deployed. MTF RHO4. I gotta watch MTF if there's any MTF videos. Serious, if you guys have any, leave them on the SCP videos because I want to check those out too. So definitely send those
to those involved. All items obtained from these interactions are to be incinerated if feasible and dismantled if not. Okay. Civilians that come into contact with SCP-1879-2 are to be administered Class A amnestics after Foundation questioning. Description.
I'm actually tripping. Why not just read along? If I read ahead, I read ahead. I made that so like I made it much more than it was.
SCP-1879 is a phenomenon that affects houses in the state of Washington, USA. It has been noted to only affect interior doors, only, which are hereby designated SCP-18.
Sorry if I have any watchers in Washington, but you're dealing with this guy.
79-1. These doors are visually unchanged. However, when a sapient organism comes within 2 meters of an SCP-1879-1 instance, repeated knocking emanates from the object. This continues indefinitely until a subject opens the door. At this point, a male humanoid entity, hereby designated as SCP-1879-2, will emerge from the SCP-1879-1 instance. The entity is approximately 1.7 meters in height and appears to be of Caucasian descent and indeterminate age. After emerging from the door, SCP-1879-2 will attempt to sell a product to the subject. These products appear to vary wildly in purpose and origin, as the entity has presented a variety of objects. The entity will dramatically explain the purpose and appeal of the product to the subject, often cornering them and suggesting they sit down before.
They literally turned a door-to-door salesman into an SCP. So the SCP is not the guy itself. It's like the door. I should have been paying attention. Let me go a little bit back to read, and then I'll hop back. So, like, okay. It's been noted that it only to infect interior doors. So indoor salesman. So it's like the inside of your door. And these doors are visually unchanged. However, when the person walks by, knocking starts. So that's an instant of. I really don't. Okay, so I don't like how some of these SCPs are explained. Like SCP. Okay, so SCP-1 is the SCP, and then SCP-2 is the thing that comes after, like after the anomaly itself or whatever the entity it is itself. It's like the offspring of it. It's like the added on effect that it, not added on effect, but it's like the next thing that happened. You know, it's a bit hard for me to explain because I don't really know SCPs like that. But how I'm seeing it is basically, so whatever this SCP is, first is affecting the door. He is not even he's the second phase to it. But the first part is the door. So I'm assuming it's -1 and there's no SCP, like, there's not just SCP. Like, okay, so you know how you have SCP-096? Would what he does be considered SCP-096-1? Like, oh, that's so confusing. I'm not even going to think about it. But basically, him coming out the door is SCP-2.
Sell a product to the subject. These products appear to vary while the entity will dramatically explain the purpose and appeal of the product to the subject, often cornering.
Okay, confusion left aside. I think the funny thing, I think the funny thing is just that they turned in a door-to-door salesman into an SCP.
Them and suggesting they sit down before doing so.
That's what I like.
The explanations and tactics utilized are often not particularly persuasive, and the entity uses underhanded methods to sell its product.
Ooh.
After fully explaining, the entity will then offer a price. Said price rarely consists of currency and is often detrimental to the subject or the subject's health. The entity consistently refuses to elaborate or comment on the definition of its prices unless it decides to raise them, which it often does if the product is not accepted and paid for quickly. SCP-1879-2 is persistent in its efforts and refuses to leave the subject alone until the product is purchased. However, if it is sufficiently threatened or wounded, the entity will temporarily retreat back into SCP-1879-1, which will then revert back into a non-anomalous door.
Okay.
It will later return within the same house via a different door and confront the subject, attempting more aggressively or even threatening them to purchase their product, as well as increasing the price. Once the product is purchased, the entity will thank the subject and exit the area through an SCP-1879-1 instance. Retrieval log.
Okay, I'm getting it. So, also another funny thing is just like, damn, you can wound this and it'll try to retreat and then it'll come back. Okay, wait. I just had this. I was creating this whole story in my mind, but I'm gonna just get it out now. So what happened as I was watching it, I was picturing someone writing an offshoot of the story of instances with 1879 where they rescued a subject and they put him in a containment cell, but basically said, hey, you can live here, we're just going to use you, since the SCP has been, probably it may move on since then, but if it comes back to try to resell, I kind of like made it like this in my head. I made it like this 096 thing where it doesn't leave that person alone. So I kind of had this thing built up where the containment, the SCP Foundation put this person in the cell and then like decked it out to like be in nice living quarters and like kept them in front of the door in case they like this person came back so they can try to like capture him or just at least keep a watch on the person because it kept coming back to the same person. And then I had this whole like story I was whipping up where like one night they didn't hear the person pressing the alarm to try to get them to come because he made an appearance trying to sell something again. But if we find out future in this video that he just kills and moves on to the next person, I mean, hey, then never mind that, because he would just probably just kill the person in containment and then go to another door.
1879, row. The following log is a short list of items obtained from deals with SCP-1879-2, along with the described price and the results.
Oh, hell no.
Object received, 1 red rose. Price statement, all I'm asking for is your heart.
Makes sense. That's what I thought about in the future. I was like, oh, it's probably like an arm or a heart. Or thought about in the future, thought about in the past. I was like, it's going to be something.
Results. Subject expired due to the demanifestation of his cardiovascular system.
Oh.
Object received, 220 bananas. Price statement, give me some sugar, sweetie. Results. All candied goods within the house disappeared.
Nah. That's what I mean when we're stepping into weird territory. That could have been kind of a weird situation, if you know what I mean.
Object received, 1 thermonuclear explosive. Price statement, I want your soul. Results. Subject hesitantly complied after encouragement. No notable effects happened at the scene of the exchange.
Yeah.
However, the subject later discovered 2 of her Aretha Franklin albums, Lady Soul and Almighty Fire, to be missing.
Oh, lucky. Oh, I like this. This dude's a trickster. That grin. I should have thought about that. I always say people with like a face like this or something are scheming. This is a trickster.
Audio log, 1879 ETA. The following log was taken during the initial attempts of Foundation agents to apprehend and discern the nature of SCP-1879-2. Agent Rogers was equipped with audio recording devices at the time of the event. This incident took place at Seattle, Washington, the home of Shirley Yates. Mrs. Yates had previously called the police several times urgently, describing a salesman that wouldn't get out of her house and kept disappearing into random doors. Foundation agents intervened to investigate the possible anomaly. Upon arrival at the scene, agents noted a male humanoid entity, SCP-1879-2, that was carrying a juvenile border collie and holding it in front of Mrs. Yates while speaking rapidly. Playing log now. Turning away from Yates to address Agent Rogers.
Oh, good. Maybe you'll listen to me. See, I got this dog, right? But I can't keep it, so I thought maybe Shirley'd like this. I just popped over and offered to give it to her. Okay, maybe not give, per se. A guy's still gotta get by, right? Anyways, I offered it and...
That's not...
Hold on. Before you say anything, let me tell you about this puppy. He's a purebred and the most playful little scamp you'll ever see.
Entity yells over his shoulder.
Even
he said, let me tell you about this fucking puppy, bruh.
Apparently not good enough for some people.
If you don't listen, Entity holds up dog to Agent Rogers' face.
Just look at him. He's so sad. Look, he's potty trained and everything. I just don't want to see him sad. And I really can't have him anymore. Personal reasons, you know. Really, all I'm asking for is some of your time. You'll barely even notice him around.
He's been slow, like, wait, let me see. Make sure I'm not tripping. Yeah, I knew it. The picture was slowly zooming in. I thought so. My like, peripheral vision while I'm looking at this was going off. I'm kind of looking kind of directly at it, but I'm trying to look like this at it, at the text, and I knew that shit was getting closer, Logan, screw you, man. Nah, alright.
That's my heart.
Raising his voice.
I love this.
Some of your time is all I'm...
Entity is forced to the ground by Foundation agents who proceed to gag the entity with a towel taken from the house's kitchen. Talking to fellow agents. Okay, f*** it. We're taking him back to the site to interrogate him. Agents attempted to escort SCP-1879-2 out of the house. However...
Oh, wait. Okay, before we continue, I love this. I think this is another one of my favorite SCPs. Dude said, let me tell you about this fucking puppy.
Upon exiting the front doorway, the entity demanifested.
Agents were not able to locate it within the house in the following investigation of the house. SCP-1879-2 later reportedly manifested within the house after approximately 6 hours, and Foundation agents returned to the scene. Speaking to Mrs. Yates, who was cowering in a corner at the time. Ma'am, please, he just needs a home. I have to sell him. It doesn't cost any money, I promise. Just 12 years of your time. Talking to fellow agents. Try to keep him in the room this time. Shirley, just take the dog, and I'll be gone. Swear on my life.
Really
Mrs. Yates took the animal. Immediately she disappeared. Pleasure doing business with you. The entity then walked into the closet before agents could apprehend it. After passing through the doorway, SCP-1879-2 demanifested. Class A amnestics were administered to Mrs. Yates' family.
End log. Audio log. 1879.
Whoa, sorry if you hear anything in the background, but whoa, wait. So what did she offer? What was the offer? Or like not what the offer was the dog, but what was her offer to him? Like what did he want? That I feel like during this there was no, if I missed it, damn, that's bad on my part, but I didn't see any indication of what he wanted from her in return. Was it literally her? What the fuck? She took the animal and immediately she disappeared. What the hell?
Sigh.
Bro.
The following log was taken during a successful Foundation interception of an SCP-1879-1 activation event.
Sounds.
Playing log now.
Rapid, constant knocking sounds emanating from SCP-1879-1. God damn it, hurry up. I have to meet the corner by tomorrow or else I'll have to stay in this world for the next century.
Oh,
hey,
shoot.
I know you're there. Spare a moment of your time? Why does the boss even need this shit anyways? It's not like he has any use for them anymore.
Well, so he's taking
A musical
people?
scale is heard emanating from SCP-1879-1. Knocking ceases. Yes, boss? I know. That's not what you meant by soul. I just thought you'd get a kick out of... Yes. Yes, sir.
Oh.
I will. Yes. I'm sorry.
He's actually a good guy. Oh, well, okay. Well, he has a good conscience. Damn, he took the soul. Like he took the albums instead of her actual soul.
It won't happen again. Please don't hurt it. I'll meet the quota this time, I swear.
Please don't hurt
Yes.
it.
Okay. Thank you. Goodbye, sir. I better get to move up to at least accounting this time. Just get me out of this place already. I've paid my dues and then some. Knocking recommences until Agent Rogers opens the door. Hello, Mr. Oh, you. Hi. Hello. Now, I'd like to ask... Now, see here. Let's think logically. You know I'm not going to tell you anything. I know
Bro, I love this. I love this, dude.
not likely to buy what I'm selling, so let's just move on to greener pastures. I'm coming up close to a deadline, and I'm sure you're swamped with making sure good people don't do their jobs. So I'll just be on my way and let you do that. Ciao! Entity attempts to close the door. Agent Rogers holds door open and grabs SCP-1879-2. That is not happening. Personnel retrieve and detain SCP-1879-2 within the room. Now, are you going to talk to me? Look, I'm busy, so I'll tell you what. I'm going to give you something. No money out of your pocket, and we'll call it even. Sound good?
Bro, you don't
Within
take
1
money
to 3
anyways.
seconds of this statement, approximately 2,000 coins of assorted origin manifested within the pockets, epidermis, and digestive tract of all subjects at the scene, excluding SCP-1879-2. All Foundation personnel involved were confirmed to be deceased. SCP-1879-2 was reportedly encountered later that day on a house further down on the same street, but had apparently demanifested before Foundation agents could reach the scene.
End log. This concludes today's lecture. Thank you for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Goodbye. I would like to give a special thank you to Zargaran, the Morrigan, Ritalius,
Damn. Okay, well, you know what? I won't lie. He still has to do what he does because there's this higher entity that's at his neck. So he's doing what he can to survive. Okay, I guess I can definitely see his side of the story. And I also, that is cool that he's actually he's trying to fucking limit the amount of casualties, but he still has taken hearts and stuff. But when it comes to what just happened, that's crazy. He could have like manifested a smoke bomb or something, but he decided to kill them. So I mean, I guess that shows his thoughts. Could have literally just like manifested like the dudes who grabbed him to like all break their arms. It didn't have to be casualties, but my dude spawned. He used console commands and spawned a bunch of coins in the stomachs and linings and organs of the person, everyone there, bro. I was picturing it in my head because of that strong imagination. I just seen coins kind of bunch up in organs and bleed, and oh wow, that just was the detail that it was of assorted coins. Just such an unnecessary detail, but I guess that plays on the more of the visualization aspect. For freak's sake, he's one of my favorite SCPs still, but damn. I'm out of here. Much love and moonlight. Don't answer any knocks at your door. This is that real case of invader stranger danger. Nah, I don't even know anymore. Okay, I'm out of here. Peace, guys.